I'm Jack Nichols and welcome to
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the Formula SimRacing Pro Championship. We're here for round 3 at the Nürburgring GP track in Germany. My name is Felix from Delft, and joined with me today it is Aidan Millward. Welcome, Aidan. Looking forward to this track today.
Yeah, Nürburgring's one of those really popular tracks that sort of lends itself quite well to open wheel single seaters. So very few places to overtake. It's probably the chicane in turn 1, maybe the hairpin if you're brave enough, but still it should provide some decent racing with the new cars that we've got this season.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, this is the third race of the season. We've had 2 races before this, the San Marino Grand Prix and the Portuguese Grand Prix. Those 2 were interesting already. Currently leading the championship, it's Noah Rovers after 2 great races by him and Zoltsuk not too far behind him. It's going to be interesting to see where those 2 will end up today. I think it's going to be very exciting to see what's going to happen. And I think the drivers are starting their qualifying just about now.
Yep, Zoltsuk's currently out on track. He's usually the first guy out on track, isn't he? He likes to bang in that lap early to try and sort of get his name on the board and sort of lay down that marker for everybody else to follow. So here he is coming through the Mercedes Arena, the little Omega-shaped section that they added just after the start of the 21st century, I guess, out of the tricky turn 4 up towards turn 5, which is downhill and to the left. And it's one of those corners where you think you can throw it in pretty quickly, but it's actually a lot trickier than it looks, and you've got to pull up for turn 6. Nice and clean there for Sux. Run out to the exit, and then downhill round a flat-out kink towards the hairpin. Aim for the inside, ride round the banking. A little bit of a twitch on the exit. Doesn't use all the curb there, which is
I think
something you'd expect.
On the outlap,
oh, it's because it's still on the outlap. Yeah, but still, I can still talk you around the track. Yeah, as probably expect him to use more of the track the next time round. Right, managed to dig myself out of that hole, and then out of Warsteiner curve, where the DRS would be open if these cars had them, and probably turn the engine mixture up to max as well. Then through the kink that leads up towards the tricky chicane, using the tighter Formula chicane rather than the faster GT chicane. And then he'll come around the final corner to start his first time lap. So they've got 3 laps here, basically 3 times laps. So you can go out, you do a lap, but then you've got to come back in. You can't just like fill the tank up and just keep hot lapping until you've used your allocation. And if they go above the amount of allocated laps, then you get disqualified as he goes through turn 1 there. I think someone might have wiped out that apex marker already from there, unless I'm thinking that it's not in rFactor 2, but it's in other sims. Through turn 3. Personally, I would have gone a bit wider through there to maximise the exit of turn 4, but yeah, Shucks is a much faster driver than I am. Here's turn 5. Using the camber to get the car hooked in. Using all the track as we thought he would have done. Fires it up towards the hairpin, and you just see him aim for the inside, and again using the banking to help turn the car. And still doesn't use all of the curb on the exit, so yeah, different. But Michael Schumacher S should be flat out in these cars, but try not to take too much of that curb on the right-hander because you'll pick up a cut track. And then, yep, nice and clean through there, up to Warsteiner. Get on the power nice and early, use all the track, and then it's just flat out through here. Don't need to worry about anything, just make sure your brake balance is set correctly, because it's a heavy braking zone up to the chicane, and the curbs as well will really unsettle the car if you hit them too hard. But nice and clean so far for Shucks. Into the final corner, if you can get the car nicely hooked up on the exit, straighten the exit up, a little bit of a twitch, but towards the start finish line, and that is a 126.5, I think.
Yeah, 126.67,
yes, it is.
Roughly around that. Quite a big margin to the next best driver, David Kaloksai, but I think Jan Bosnica is on a good lap as well. Let's have a look at him. He had a really good first sector, second sector. about to pop up. Indeed, also a good second sector. Not as good as Zoltzuks, I believe, but first sector might just be enough to give him that edge. The last couple of corners. Final corner now. And Leonov also very fast in that second sector. So this is, I think, going to be quite close between all these NetRex drivers at the front. As just about slower than Zoltzuks. Ivan Leonov is just about a bit slower than Jan Woznica. So very close at the front already at the start of qualifying.
Yeah, just over half a tenth separating Schuks and Woznica currently. But I'm just trying to see who else, who hasn't set a lap that we'd expect to be up at that top. I don't see Noah Roivers just yet. Leonov currently out on track. Woznica in the pits. Schuks has gone out again. Here we're seeing the Discord stream that we're watching this on is a little bit compressed. It's a bit hard to read, but hang on a second. There we go. I can scroll down now a bit and see what I'm doing. Where am I? Right, this is Jake Danahan.
Yeah.
Right, we're there. He's currently out on track. Hasn't set a time just yet, so obviously he'll have set a personal best.
Yeah, he's a replacement driver from the Academy Championship. Did a solid drive there as well. Finished in second place. I think is hoping to get a good position here as well. So far, interesting to see where he will be ending up. Coming through that final corners. Some drivers at the front have already started their second lap. Like I mentioned, there's a 3 hot lap limit for everyone.
Yes.
P9.
Yep, it's a private qualifying session as well, so all the cars are on track because Thomas Vach has just crossed the start-finish line. You can see Zoltzuks coming through out of the infield section, so they won't be able to see each other on the track, but it basically just eliminates everybody around them, so they've got the whole track to themselves. No one's going to get caught up in dirty air. Teams can't use cars for slipstream and stuff that you would see in real Formula 1, so it's down to the driver to maximise his time rather than using a little bit of outside interference, as they say.
Yeah. These Zoltzuks coming through the Schumacher S, flat out, easy in at least in qualifying. I think in the race it's a little bit more tricky, especially if once the tires start to get worn. Into the wall he goes. What I was about to say, it's quite easy to lose the rear, I think, through that fast corner if you're on a bit lower downforce setting. And we saw on worn tires, indeed, a few drivers in the Academy Championship make some mistakes, almost putting it into the wall. Some people did put it into the wall, I believe. But that's going to be interesting to see how these pro drivers cope with that.
Yeah, we saw quite a few accidents in the Academy race that has just gone, as this is Tom Aldermenger, currently in 8th, has just put it on 3rd, so a great lap for him.
Indeed. Our Rovers just about a 10th behind the pole position, but currently only in 4th place. It's very close within the entire top 17 is only 2nd. The entire top 10 is only half a second.
I mean, the top 6 is covered by less than 2/10, so... And then you've got Kalaksai, who's about a quarter of a second off the pole position pace. This is very, very, very close. As Roivers comes through Warsteiner to almost got it a bit on the dirt there. That won't slow him down that much. He's up on his personal best. He could possibly put it into 3rd, but... Still, he's going to need one hell of a final sector to get it onto pole as he comes through the final corner. Get the power down, straighten it up on the exit, use all that curb towards the line, and it is 2nd for him.
Yeah, great lap by him. Indeed, only needed a few tenths to improve, of course, but did so quite nicely.
Woznia's banged a great lap in, hasn't he? We were saying that the top 4 was covered by less than a quarter of a second, and now Woznia's got nearly a quarter of a second on Roivers. Yeah,
amazing lap by Jan Woznica. Let's see if anybody can rival that. Only one attempt to go for most of these drivers. With about 1.5 minutes left on the clock. Everybody should be getting out the track now to their laps, and I think everybody is indeed out on the track at the moment.
Yeah, Batala, Vent, Riboli and Ampatsidis haven't even bothered going out yet. Arif Roslands has got 6 laps on the board with no timed laps, so either he's been crashing a lot or he's been abusing the track limits a little bit. So that bottom sort of 4 or 5, not really having fun at the minute. As we see Kaluxai on the run up towards the hairpin, taking a bit of a wider line on entry. Usually you want to hug that curb. He's gone a little bit wider, then cut back in as he flies through the Schumacher S. Doesn't run the car out too wide, and then uses as much of the track as he wants to through this little section to try and open these corners out. Try and get on the power nice and early on Warsteiner to maximise the run up the straight. So if you get on the power early, you'll be at higher top speed on the braking zone at the end, which we'll definitely see at places like Spa from the run to from the source down to Les Combes. Through the chicane, doesn't take as much curb as others have been. Into the final corner, he's done a slower first sector, personal best middle sector. Where's this going to put him come the end of this lap? And it's 6 for Kaluxai.
The Oldenmenger, Zoltzuks, both not on a improvement for now, at least in the first sector. Let's see what they can do in the second sector. Feeling Oldenmenger is pushing all the way, but could just be me not realizing that now he's definitely pushing. Second sector time about to come up. Personal improvement.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Roivers has started a flyer as well, as we'll stay on board with Oldenmenger round to the final couple of corners to see how he can improve or may not improve, as the case may be. Nice and tidy through the final corner, doesn't get as much of a twitch on the exit as he has been before. Powers it up towards the line, and it's still 4th for the German.
Does improve his time, but not his position. Let's see if Rovers is able to challenge Vosnica for that provisional pole position. Vosnica himself is already going purple once again in the second sector, so he'll be trying to improve on that lap time as well. Rovers does get a good second sector as well. I think this is going to be quite close between the two. Last sector is going to be very important for Rovers.
Yeah, through the chicane, a little bit of a wiggle on the exit. You can slow him down a little bit if you had to get out the power a little bit through the final corner. He went fastest of all through the middle sector. What's the final sector going to be? And it's pole.
It is.
Right at the death.
Indeed. Very, very close gap between the two. Only 8 thousandths, but it is just about enough for that pole position. Great qualifying there by Noah Rovers, and he'll be starting from pole position here today. So here we've got the full results. Noah Rovers with a 126.4 starting from that pole position. Jan Bosnica just a little bit shy of that. Couldn't get a good final lap in. I think he even abandoned that last lap. Zoltzuks was looking strong in the start of this qualifying session, but then dropped down a little bit, but still third position. Won't be too bad a start for him, I think. Ivan Leonov 5th, Tom Oldenmenger, I forgot that one, in 4th. In 6th, David Kaluxai, good qualifying for him. Lawrence Doherty, further down than he would like, I think. 7th, Pleasure Fletcher, good in 8th. Kas Rietveld in 9th. And Thomas Waak topping out the top 10 here. Great qualifying session, Aidan.
Yeah, just 0.008 of a second between Roivers and I've got the pronunciation correct now. It's Woznitzer, apparently. Thank you, David, for that. I've probably butchered it again, but still Netrex 1-2 with Zoltzuks for HM Engineering in 3rd, and then Oldenmenger in 4th, Ivan Leonov 5th, Kaluxai 6th, Doherty in 7th, and Fletcher, Reutveld and Vuk. So a very, very good top 10 there, so all to play for in the actual race.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a very exciting race. However, let's first have a look at what Mitchie Hoyer has to say about this Nürburgring GP track.
This is Formula Sim Racing. My name is Mitchie Hoyer. Welcome, guys, to round 3 of the Formula Sim Racing 2021 series. We are at my home racetrack. We are at the Nürburgring, and I am very pleased to take you guys around for a presentation lap around this circuit. Final turn, carry all the speed across the line over the start finish straight. Longest straight, best overtaking opportunity into turn 1. Heavy braking zone into a turn that drops down on the circuit. Very important you get the right exit traction into turn 2. The left-hander rear wants to swing around as you want to already focus on turn 3 and 4. Very Mickey Mouse circuit that is. Out of 4 Mercedes-Benz arena through 5 into 6, 7. Quick left and right-hander. Wanna not ride those exit curbs too much here. Out of 7 that is. Into turn 8. Hairpin, classic tight, white, tight combination. Once again, don't want to take too much of the curb on the exit. Turn 9 and 10, Schumacher is all the way flat in race and in qualifying. And into turn 11 and 12 we go, another left-right combination. Don't want to touch the curbs too much here as well, but here it is very important you get a blistering exit onto the back straight through turn 13. Obviously no issue whatsoever, and then coming for 14, 15, the NG gate chicane, heavy braking zone. Don't touch the anti-cuts as they may just throw you off. And into turn 16, the Jaguar turn with a Jag outside of the apex here, and that is 1 lap going across the line, the Nürburgring circuit. Guys, we're looking forward to very interesting racing with strategies being important for all the divisions.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready to race here at the Nürburgring GP for the 3rd round of the Formula SimRacing 2021 Pro Championship. My name is Felix van Delft, once again joined by Aidan Millward. Let's have a quick look at the season standings, because I think the drivers are already getting ready to start their race. This is what happened in the last 2 races, Aidan.
Yeah, Roy was with a first and a second to have that 45-point tally after just 2 rounds. Zoltschuk's still sniffing there at 42 points, and then a big gap to Ivan Leonov and Jan Vosnica down there on equal 26 points there. So that'll be a nice tasty battle if that carries on throughout the rest of the season. Michael Ayers still there with Casper Rietveld. They're both on the same amount of points on 22. Victor Ivanov on 20 with the Dutchman, not the German, Tom Oldenmenger. Again, 20 points there. Then Zoltan Hives in 15th, and Jukka-Pekka Lalu down there in 10th on 11. Yeah, in 10th on 11. That's confusing. But still, Noah Roy was probably the championship favourite right now if he keeps scoring big in every race. But don't count out Schucks if Roivers has a couple of bad rounds.
Indeed, and let's have a look at the starting formation already then, because the drivers are already on their formation. At Noah Roivers P1, Jan Vosnica P2, Zoltschuk starting from 3rd. Next to him it's Tom Oldenmenger from Burst Complexity eSports. Then Ivan Leonov right behind that in 5th. David Kloksai in 6th. Royal Blue Racing for him. And Lawrence Doherty from HM Engineering in 7th. Then 9th Carlos Rietveld, Jake Danahan, who's a replacement driver from Academy in 10th. Very good qualifying for him. Ivanov in 11th. Jukka-Pekka Lalu in 12th. 13th Sultan Hives from Bram GP. Thomas Wack in 14th, 15th, Stoyan Barbakovs, and 16th it's George Shatsipantelis. Then 17th we've got Michael Ayers, Rasmus Andreasen, in 18th, 19th Jacob Reed, and in 20th it's Cameron Roger. Then 21st Matthew Tucson, 22nd George Zalo Janis, and 23rd Tom Lombard, and 24th it is Arif Roslan. 25th Gerard Batala, also replacement driver. Jackson went in 26th. Massimiliano Ribioli in 27th. And Vasilis Ampatsidis in 28th place, which is the last starter of the day.
The 28 cars going into that very, very tight turn 1. It's going to be sort of close your eyes and hope for some of these drivers, particularly those in the mid pack. But hopefully everybody will keep it nice and calm as Roivers brings the grid round on the formation lap. Apologies that one of the textures hasn't loaded properly. We've got a white car just knocking about there in the background. And, yeah, a few burnouts. Get those tyres nice and warm. And then Royver's pointing his car towards the apex of Turn 1. I think a few of the drivers on that left-hand side, the clean side, if you will, of the track, as who's that in 5th position? That's Oldenmenger. So almost parking his car in the middle of the track.
Yeah, interesting to see what his plan is, but...
Or is it... No, sorry, it's Leonov.
Yeah.
That's pointing his car in the middle of the road. Just waiting for the last car to get into position, and then we'll hear the honks of the 5 red lights coming on. Same start procedure as it is in Formula 1. Is everybody in position? You'd hope so. Ah, here we go. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. Smoking engine from Roivers, and we are away at the Nürburgring. Roivers dives across to cut off his teammate Vosnica in second place, and it looks like Roivers will have the advantage going to turn 1 as Vosnica almost goes straight on there. So that's allowed Oldenmenger into second place. Zoltsuch in 4th, Kalexine 5th, Doherty in 6th. And as we cut back a little bit further up the grid to Doherty there, who gives his teammate a little bit of a nudge out the way there. But Shucks has managed to keep it. And there's big crashing in the background. I think that's Chatsapalant. Yeah, he's... it's hard to say very quickly. I think he was the one that's gone... Oh, there's a car with no wheel. Yeah, he's done already. That's not a great day out for him. Andreasen back here in 17th. As we now go back to Vosnica going through the hairpin. It's all kicking off. It's only one death, but still very action-packed.
Definitely at the back, some incident. We'll have a look later on if we can see what happened there. Now Rivers though, good start up to first place after getting that pole position into the lead with about a second to Tom Oldenmenger already after half a lap. Tire-wise, unfortunately the overlay is not showing the tires at the moment. But I think most of these drivers in the top 8, all the drivers in the top 8 are on soft tires. Behind that, we've got Cas Rietveld on hards and Ivan Leonov on the hards. So those will be interesting to keep an eye out on to see what they will do strategy-wise.
Chatsa Pantelis out after losing his rear wheels. We see Sergio Fletcher currently in 7th. Decent start for him as they come through the Omega Mercedes section for the second time. And there's more carnage going off in the background. I think that's Barbakov gone. There's a car missing a front wing, a rear wing. There's wings and body parts everywhere. That's that Thomas Vac missing a front wing. No, that's just cut, just the thing cutting. I'll try and find out who that is that's missing that front wing. Where are we? It's Riboli that's missing his front wing, so he's going to have to come in and get that fixed. So that's going to put him plumb last as he has a major lock-up into the hairpin for no downforce keeping the car going there. But still, Michael Ayers has actually had... no, wait, that's just the way that this is functioning. Actually, maybe it is that he's picked up a cut track already at the Schumacher S, so that's not going to be too good for him if he keeps picking them up.
David Kaloksai started his race. Trying to stay close to Lawrence Doherty. Doherty already gained a few positions at the start there. Of course, Doherty is one of the drivers that has been quick. But has also had quite a few incidents throughout the first 2 races, and therefore didn't really transfer that pace into actual points. And let's see if you'll be able to do that today. Of course, strategy is also a big part. 48 laps total. We saw, I think, the most laps somebody did was 18 in the Academy division. Most laps on one tank, 18 laps. So I guess we're going to see at least 2 stops. Probably 3.
Yeah, I'm loading up my my calculator here. I'm just going to do the quick maths on that. So 48 divided by 18. Yeah, it's roughly 2.5 stints, or 2.5 pit stops, I should say. It's there's probably going to be a short fill at some point in the race, maybe. But we'll cross those bridges when we get to it. That's the thing with the fuel and the tyres. It's that you're not running one tank to the end, so you can theoretically push a bit harder on tyres and do all that stuff, but you still got to watch your fuel tank and try and base things around that. Calaxide chasing Doherty now. Royal Blue versus HM. Here's a replay of Chats Pantelis. I'm just going to go with that for now.
Yeah, this was at the start of the race.
And that was a spun Netrex car that was in the way. That might have been
Ivan Leonov, I think.
Leonov.
Or Victor Ivanov.
Or Ivanov.
Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah, it doesn't help that they drive for the same team either. Well, I was watching a Bathurst 12 hour yesterday, and one of the teams had 2 drivers with the same name. It's just one was spelled with a K and one was spelled with a C. It was like that was confusing watching Lewis try to deal with that one for 12 hours. Rovers with a 1.3 second lead over Oldenmenger Vosnica. Probably another half a second or so back from the Burst eSports driver. Rovers pretty much in control thus far. Seem to be enjoying driving this new 2021 FSR car, which, like I say, it has a smaller fuel tank, so you actually have to fill it up. No DRS, no engine modes. Just get in and drive this season.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the overlay fixed for a second.
Try and see what else is going on down the grid. As Riboli's had his pit stop, he's back out on track. He's going round plumb last. There's a little bit of a train forming between Rietveld, Leonov, Vak and Ayres in sort of between 9th to 12th. As okay.
Getting blinded.
Yeah.
In the meantime.
Maybe that's how that accident happened.
Yeah, I guess, perhaps.
Batala's got a cut track. That's not fun for him, as we're on board with Thomas Vak here in the number 47 HM car. Be interesting to see how the slipstream is down that backstretch and then onto those. Oh, closing right up on the brakes. Try not to hit that raised part of the inside curbs, and then through the final corner. Hug the inside. Try not to hit that tyre wall on the inside of that corner. Still chasing Leonov. About half a second behind him here at the minute. And we have our overlay back.
Yeah, it's working now with the tires, so that's good to have. Of course, quite a big strategy thing in this 2021 season. But indeed, as you can see, all the drivers in the top 8 on that softer compound, and then behind that is pretty much everybody except for Vak and Andreasen on the hard tire. Like I said before, Rietveld is still pretty close to Jake Danahan. I think he's somebody to look out for strategy-wise, might be able to do something different compared to the drivers in front of him.
And then Jacob Reed all the way down to the rear of the field on the hard tyres. We've got Andreasen and Vak in there on the soft. So hard's definitely able to go. I mean, if the tank was as it was last season, they'd be able to go a lot longer into the race. but because the tank is limited now, you could probably lean on those hards a bit harder, get that little bit more performance out of them, and then they'll bolt on the set of the softs maybe for the next stint, have that sort of faster middle sector, or section, middle stint, whatever you want to call it, and then the third for a faster one as well. As long as they use that hard tyre at some point during the race, they should be fine.
Yep. Woznica keeping close to Tom Oldenmenger, but I think it's going to be difficult to overtake around this track. The straights themselves aren't that long, and there's quite a lot of dirty air, or at least long corners where dirty air plays a big part. So let's see if Woznica is able to close up. Perhaps use some slipstream to attack Oldenmenger. Pace-wise, Woznica has been a bit quicker. But is it going to be enough for him to get past?
Like we were saying at the top of the show, really the chicane, hairpin and turn 1 are your overtaking spots. A little bit of a chirp on the brakes there from Matt Tucson as Cameron Rogers trying to set him up for a pass. Cameron actually scored quite well last time out at Portugal, so hopefully be able to somehow get himself into the top 15 here today. Tucson and Roger usually quite close in qualifying as well, so there's that little bit of a mini rivalry between the two of them. But still Cam doing very well. Getting in and around the points, and his pace seems to be getting better and better each time he gets into the car.
Yeah, of course, he has a lot of other stuff to do as well around Formula SimRacing, being the president and all. But so far, he's been able to not crash the cars, so that's already an achievement, I think.
I'm lucky if I survive a lap in this thing. It's there's so much power on tap and so much torque available that it just wants to spin those rear wheels up. You've got to be very, very careful with the throttle. I'm used to like GTs and stuff like that with traction control and low-powered tin tops and stuff like that, so getting to this thing is a real shock to the system that you have to really get used to, but very fun car to drive. Just throwing it into fast corners like this one that they're going through, the Michael Schumacher S. Like I say, very easy to pick up cut tracks there, so they've got to be very careful, and probably we'll see a couple of penalties later on in the race if people keep abusing the track limits there. It's not turn 4 at Bahrain. You can't just keep going over the white line for 29 laps. You've got to actually be careful about what you're doing, because it's coded into the sim that it will pick it up. There's Woznica again, half a second behind Oldenmenger. The slipstream just not good enough at that distance. It's not like at Imola where you had that long straight, and at Portugal where you had the long straight. Just overshoots turn 1, slightly misses the apex a bit. A little bit of wiggle on the exit. And into turn 2. It's quite a tricky little section here because you want to try and keep the speed up without understeering or going too wide and all that stuff. A little bit of a wiggle again from Woznica on the exit of turn 4. Down to 5. Just trying to keep with Oldenmenger for now, and then try and jump him in the pit stops maybe, because unless you're super close, that's probably the only way you're going to get past is through undercutting or getting good pit stops.
Yeah, and even that's going to be difficult because of the big train that's behind at the front. You can't really stop because, well, let's say the pit stop gap, I don't know exactly, but pit stop loss is about 25 to 30 seconds, I would guess. Right now you would come in right in the middle of the pack at the back end, about P20, P25. So that's not where you want to be just after your pit stop. You want to, of course, try to use the fresh tires that you take into the pit stop to their advantage at the maximum. So you want some clean air to be able to do that. So you're still difficult to do that early pit stop unless you get a bit of a gap, and I think Noah Rovers is of course trying to get that gap. He's now almost 2.2 seconds in front of Tom Oldenmenger.
Yeah, Rovers absolutely flying in his Netrex car at the minute, but when I was watching the Academy race earlier, it was like people had pitted by now. People were coming in on lap 5, lap 6 because of the shorter race, so their strategies are ever so slightly different, but I don't think we'll be seeing anybody pit super duper early. So we're on lap 10, we're expecting 18 maximum. I mean, some people could pit now, but still, I don't think it's really worth it at this point in time. Chirp on the brakes from Aldermenger into the hairpin. Voznica almost followed. But it looks like the Voznica's getting a little bit closer, but that might just be the concertina effect coming through some of these corners. If you can put Aldermenger under enough pressure, maybe force Aldermenger wide, maybe get a track cut at Schumacher or something like that. It's and there we go. You can see the Burst eSports car in the front. Still that gap hovering around the half-second mark.
Yeah, pace-wise, they're pretty much matched completely in the last lap. 29.5 and 29.5 for both of them. Let's see this lap. Don't think it's going to be much different. For that final corner, Aldermenger had a bit better exit, I think. And he once again basically the same lap time for the two. So these two are pretty evenly matched. Voznica goes a bit deep there in turn 1.
It's twice in a row he's done that, so maybe it is deliberate just to get a straight or run off the corner. Tyres will be starting to give out now, you would have thought. Sort of get that noticeable little bit of drop off, but nothing too extreme. Gap up to 0.7 of a second, so Aldermenger's pulled a little bit out. So maybe that was a mistake from Voznica into turn 1.
Indeed. Now further back, Sergio Fletcher is trying to keep up with Kaloksai as well. Jake Danahan still doing a great job. Remember, he's a replacement driver here today and currently driving in P8. So that's a great position for him so far. Let's see what he can do to Kaloksai. Perhaps try to get past him. Of course, the Royal Blue driver will be trying to defend as hard as possible.
He definitely looked like he caught up through that first braking zone into the left-hander before Warsteiner, so having a little bit of a sniff, just letting Kaloksai know he exists. Trying to get the better run, hit that inside curve a bit too hard, that might have knocked off a couple of Ks off his exit. Hugs that inside line. Now, can he do anything with the slipstream here up the start-finish straight? He's closing ever so slightly, but he's pulled out maybe a little bit too soon, I think. But he's going to send it anyway. Or maybe a little bit too deep, but no, that move has stuck. And there we go, Sergio Fletcher up into 6th position.
Yeah, great move there. Doing a little bit of a dummy down the straight and then sending it up the inside of turn 1. Always a bit difficult because it goes downhill so much. Braking wise, it's easy to make a mistake there. But both of them got through there cleanly. And Kaloksai is now going to be trying to keep close with him. I think Kaloksai is starting to struggle now. 12 laps into this race. Tires are starting to wear. And I think we're going to see the first pit stops in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, Fletcher's got nearly 6/10 on Kaloksai already, just off that one overtake. As we now look at Voznica. Still within that half a second of Aldermenger, so maybe he's just holding it there and just knowing that he can have him later on in the race, but so many more strategies coming out in this season. Before we would have gone, the tyres last about this long, but obviously with the fuel to factor in as well. If Voznica can save that little extra bit, okay, he might not have enough fuel to complete that one extra lap, but more in the tank at the end of the stint, less time spent filling it up, so he might save a couple of tenths or whatever in the actual fueling phase of the pit stop, so you can gain a little bit just doing that.
Jacob Reed, first driver into the pits, I think.
Yeah, that is actually the first pit stop, so he's in onto the softs for the next portion of the race. He'll probably come out near the back. He won't come out super duper last, but he'll be in that. He'll probably be 25th or so when he comes out the pit lane, because it's a slow pit lane speed limit here.
Cameron Roger actually also did his first
Oh, he did?
pit stop already. Yeah, he did a very short 9-lap stint on the softs, and then went to he did a short stint on the hards, and now is on the soft tires, trying to go for a move up the inside of Stoyan Barbakov there. Barbakov defending well. Cameron just keeping out for now, but his tires are quite a bit more grippy, of course, being the soft compared to the hards. Very close there. That's not really a place you want to send it, I think. Perhaps into the hairpin here, but also probably not the best place.
Oh, what? Someone's got his Brave Boy pants on today. I know he's gone and lost that position to Jacob Reed, who's got way fresher rubber than Karen has. It's like, what was he thinking?
That's a good question, but he lost the position to Jacob Reed now.
Has he been watching Ayrton Senna again and thinking, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, if gap car, Cameron Roger 2021.
Right, he'll try again. I think down the back straight, or the main straight, sorry. But perhaps a little bit too far back. I think Viktor Ivanov and Matthew Tucson are also battling side by side here.
Oof. Did Ivanov just go around the outside of Tucson there into turn 2?
Yeah, I think he did. Good move by him then. Ivanov, Ivanov.
No, it is Ivanov. Yeah.
He's still on...
It doesn't help that the Discord stream that we're watching is compressed. It just makes things worse on that front. But it's good comedy. Alden Mango, yeah.
Same story between these two.
Yeah, he just seems to be setting equal lap times, doesn't he, Vozitzer? So he's just holding it there, and I'd be interested to see how it all pans out in the pit stops between these two, because it definitely looks like a more strategical battle between Burst and Netrex here.
Yeah, surely that's going to be in the next 2-3 laps that they're going to come in. 17 laps or 18 laps, I think, was the most we saw on the Academy race. Right now, lap 15, so shouldn't be too long. But perhaps Wosinka was able to save a little bit of fuel behind Tom Oldermanger here, and goes for a lap longer. We'll have to wait and see.
Here's the Schumacher S. This is prime track cut territory, but Vozitzer fine through there. And that AstroTurf on the outside of that left-hander they've just gone through, it's more like, it functions like grass rather than a solid surface, so on that you lose a bit of brake performance, so it's not worth going on in these sorts of cars compared to other simulations on the market. No pitting just yet, as we now see Ivan Leonov in his... it's a shame that he's not driving for ghost speed, because that would be oh, he's coming in.
He's coming in, yeah. And also Doherty a little bit in front, come in.
So Toshvak goes up into 10th as Leonov looks to ditch those hard tyres and get onto the softs for his next stint.
Yeah, Doherty going to a set of another set of the soft tires. So he'll be going for hard tires at the end of the race. 33 laps to go, so there's another pit stop after this, at least. As he rejoins just in front of Viktor Ivanov, who is on older hard tires, so he shouldn't be able to keep up with Doherty here with his fresh softs. Of course, Doherty will be catching up to his teammate Tom Lombaerts. Sorry, not his teammate. Lombaerts is another red car, but he's actually driving for ghost speed. Sometimes a bit difficult to distinguish the red between these guys, but Lombaerts, of course, also on older tires.
Oh, here we go. Vosnitzer on Oldenmenger. It's now very, very, very close. As a bit of a dummy for the pit lane there.
Both of them tried to dummy each other.
That didn't work. Some great racing here as Vosnitzer now in slipstream territory. I don't think he's going to be close enough unless he absolutely fires it into turn 1, which he's thinking about. He's sent Oldenmenger a little bit wide, but can't really get the power down on the exit of the first corner. So Oldenmenger has inherited the lead, but it'll be brief. They should be pitting at the end of this lap as Oldenmenger goes a bit too deep into 3. Vosnitzer maybe cut back out of 4.
There we go.
And then it'll just be the outside of 5. Hopefully he's got the grip. And yep, he's taken that. So Vosnitzer finally ahead of Oldenmenger after following him around for the last 17 laps or so.
Yep. So basically all the other drivers have pitted now. Almost everybody for their first stops. Interesting to note, Noah Rovers, another set of soft tires. Sold Soeks went to the hard compound. And I think, Fletcher, Kaloksai also went to a hard compound. So they'll be having another set of softs later on. However, Rovers will be having another set of the hard tires later on. So he does have the clean air now, so we'll be able to push a little bit on these tires to try and take the best out of the pace of the soft tire.
Oldenmenger and Vosnitzer into the pit lane. Line astern, as Martin Brundle loves saying. Oldenmenger doesn't send it up the rear end of Vosnitzer, as we almost saw in the previous race today. So Oldenmenger hits his box first, as it's the first one, or pretty much the first one. So Rovers will come back round to take the race lead. Will he have anything of a gain after passing his teammate and Oldenmenger in the pit lane? So there's Vosnitzer going on to the hards for the next stint, while Oldenmenger is on the softs. Yep. That's interesting.
Indeed, different strategy between these two teams. Burst Esports, Burst Simplexity Esports, I should say, and Netrex Grand Prix. Mosnica indeed opting to go for that harder tire. We'll have the soft tire later on, of course. I guess he wants to try and keep up with Oldenmenger now as much as he can, but it's going to be difficult. So Soeks is also on hard tire, so should be able to at least keep up or keep in front of him. But it's going to be difficult for him, I think, to keep with Tom Oldenmenger. But of course, then later on, he will have. It's going to be the other way around in the next stint. So let's see what they are able to give us for the show.
Well, interestingly, Oldenmenger came in behind, but he's got out ahead. So Oldenmenger's tyres will burn out faster than Vosnitzer's over this stint.
Yeah, it could also be that they put less fuel in Oldenmenger's car. Pit stop time for Oldenmenger was 12 seconds. Pit stop time for Wozniak was 14 seconds. If they did the pit request properly, then there shouldn't be a difference between, or shouldn't be any randomness between the times. So that would indicate that if they didn't mess up the pit request, then Tom Oldenmenger did indeed put a bit less fuel than Wozniak.
Yeah, because if you do 18-18, that'll take you to 36, leaving you 12 laps to the end. So he may be doing that 12-lap bit now, and then the 18 to the end. So there is that to factor in.
Indeed.
If my maths is correct. I'm not very good at maths.
I think it is.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, Jake Danahan, Michael Ayers, Cas Rietveld battling it out. Wheel to wheel. Ooh, Michael Ayers.
That was naughty, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I have to see that again. Oh!
The rejoin. Yeah, very close between each other. They touched the wheels a little bit, and I think that caused Michael Ayers to push wide onto the AstroTurf there and lost the rear end. Almost spun into Cas Rietveld. Let's see if we can get a quick replay of that.
Yeah. It did look like he came across in that split second, but you just call that in the moment. I may have got it wrong. Have another look at that. It's hard to tell from that angle.
Let's try another one.
If we try on board with Ayers and see what happens. So coming through turn 2.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's just racing.
Yeah.
I retract my previous statements.
Bit unlucky for Michael Ayres. Lost the position, but didn't lose too much time. Still be able to battle with him. As you can see here, right behind Cas Rietveld still.
Still in the race, and that's the important part. Although his tyres may have got a bit hot. Ooh, hello.
His tyres are definitely hot, Cas
Yep.
Rietveld.
That's one way of going through the final corner.
Yeah, but Michael Ayres wasn't really able to capitalize on that. It might be there's some top speed difference between these two. Let's have a quick look. Michael Ayres top speed 314, Rietveld 315, so that's not a big difference. I guess it's just tires that were a bit better for Cas Rietveld.
Dennehan.
Yeah,
Dennehan went super defensive on the pit straight as well, almost driving alongside, almost wall riding down the pit straight to try and cover off Rietveld. As you can see, Dennehan on the harder tyre, Rietveld and Ayres on the softer tyre. So basically, virtually everybody behind Dennehan is on the soft tyre, apart from Ritoli, who's down in 26th and last position currently, as we've lost Victor Ivanov and George Chatz, who we lost on lap 1. So it'd be interesting to see how Ivanov decided to call it a day. Chatsi Pantelis. There we go. I've got it now. But I have to really think about it when I say it. So sorry, George, if I'm butchering your name. Rietveld quite close to Dennehan this time round. Dennehan goes towards the wall once more. And that's David Kalloxai that's directly in front of him as well. So, ooh, that's close.
a bit naughty there by Dennehan, I think. He already moved twice, I think, on that back straight, and then did again coming into the braking zone. Michael Ayres just giving a bit of a love tap to the rear wing of Cas Rietveld. But this is coming to be quite a big train behind David Kalloxai.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of pace recently, so I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he's just not quite used to the harder tyre, but those three, despite the constant battling, have caught right up to the Royal Blue driver.
Yeah.
Zoltan Heiser's picked up a cut track as well, so not good there. I don't know actually know how many it is. It might be 3, it might be 5, but I think we'll get to that. Oh,
somebody's in the wall.
Yeah, that was...
He's out.
It's Michael Ayres.
Yeah. Let's see what happened to him. I think he just made a mistake.
I think he just snapped coming out of...
his rear tires were already cooked coming out of...
Yeah. He just snapped on the exit of Schumacher.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well...
That's a big...
snapped too much, but he just massively
It snapped enough.
Like... Yeah, well, that's already rear tires cooked, but...
Lost Zoltan Hives as well. He's DNF'd.
He had a bit of a snap, but then massively overcorrected into the wall. End of his race, definitely.
So how did Zoltan Hives just down as a DNF? So that might be Disco Fever that he's caught. As Rietveld and Dennehan going side by side through Sector 1. Rietveld on the softer tyres. Ooh, I was about to say, bye.
Yeah,
that's not good. I don't know if Dennehan just came across onto the line there, but Rietveld just giving the car a bit of a wiggle, make sure that suspension isn't damaged. As we now see a replay of Cass. He's on the inside. He sort of overshot turn 3, so that gave him the inside line for 4.
Yeah.
Dennehan just came across a bit too much.
Yeah, I think so indeed. He also went a little bit deep, of course, because he had not the perfect line, but yeah, tough to say. So let's have indeed a look at what happened to Zoltan Hives, because he indeed did DNF, but exactly why did he do that?
So this is coming through to the sort of S-bendage before Deja Vu and Bonk. Yeah, took the front wing off and then just decided, nah, not worth it. And his day's done. Here's Zolt Shucks with Sergio Fletcher. Oh, there's a bit more banging in the background as Cameron Roger pits for the second time. Just trying to see. I think that was just cars banging wheels rather than someone having a biggie. Kalkseis picked up the pace again. He's got a 3-second lead between him and Dennehan now. Dennehan in turn being chased by Thomas Vaak. As we see Cameron Roger fighting with
out of Roslan here, yeah.
Arif Roslan coming out of turn 1 there. Stoyan Barbakov about 2-3 seconds behind. So Roger now onto the softs. Should probably try and pick the pace up a bit, and here we see Vosnitz has dropped right off the back of Oldenmenger. 3 seconds between the two of them now. Doherty another 3.5 further back. So those softs definitely working in Oldenmenger's favour.
Yeah, of course they have a bit more pace, but
drop off first.
True. After 6 laps, though, I think that's quite a big gap. Jan Mosnik are not really comfortable on those harder tires, and I think he'll be struggling to catch up or stay with Tom Oldenmenger in the next few laps. I think they're still going to be at least 7 laps on this tire, and of course that harder tire will come to Woznica a little bit more, but it's a big gap, 7 seconds. Of course, he will have the soft tires at the end of the race, because Oldenmenger has to take the hard tires. He hasn't driven on them yet during this race. But still, it's a big gap to overcome for Woznica. Perhaps he'll be able to make it work in the end.
Yeah, might cancel each other out on the... Oh, hello. That's a 10 from Len for that one. That's Jackson Vent and... Salgianis coming together, yep. So probably just a racing incident. We'll probably get a closer look at that one. I think it was basically the same thing that happened to Rietveld before.
They were already side by side here. One of them went deep, somebody cut back. It's basically exactly the same incident.
It is exactly the same incident as... Yeah. Oh, I think Vent may have just understeered into him. But I think that's just a racing incident, and we can just... Stewards don't need to look at that one.
Ivan Leonov, he's been silently within the top 7, trying to catch up to Sergio Fletcher now. Ivan hasn't stopped for the second time yet. Basically nobody has yet, except for Cameron and Ribioli. Somebody's...
Salagianis.
Yeah.
Just got his rear wheel just ripped off. He just got absolutely nerfed up the rear. I can't really see who it was, but I just caught the end of it. I think I may have accidentally pressed the wrong button and ended up riding on board with a driver as if it was an endurance race, and carried on. So yeah, Salagianis, and
this was
it's the same thing. Oh, hang on. Did he just get boffed off onto the gravel and he's like hit by Jara Batala there?
Let's go a little bit further back if I can. There we go. So they were battling with I'm not sure exactly who that is. I think that is Jackson Vent.
Yeah. And then he turns left.
Yeah, and on the rejoin, he... that's weird.
Yeah. That's going to be an interesting one to look at. I think Matt Tewson just diving out of the way there. And that's Zalagianis' day over as well. So that's retirement number 5. So Zalagianis, Hayes, Ayres, Ivanov and Chasipantelis all out of the race as... the ghost car of Ivan Leonov is circling around in 7th. Vosnitzer with a cut track by the looks of things. Or is that just the timing screen not updating properly for me? It's probably just the timing screen not updating properly for me.
It could be a cut track indeed. He has to be careful for those, because I think he's had a few already.
No, this looks like it'll be his first one.
Oh, okay.
So Batala's got a new front wing after that coming together with Zalagianis. He's in 22nd. As we see, Vosnitzer, he's now 8 seconds behind Oldenmenger. So Oldenmenger absolutely flying on those Red Wall soft tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. However, compared to Rovers, hasn't been much quicker or much difference between those two. They have been basically doing the same lap time all the time. But yeah, they're also on the same strategy, effectively. Rovers pitted 1 lap earlier than Oldenmenger, but that's not going to make a whole lot of difference. We'll give Oldenmenger probably a little bit of a shorter pit stop in this last pit stop that's coming up in, I would say, 5 laps, maybe a bit further.
So yeah, he pitted lap 17, Oldenmenger. So if we're anticipating that 12 lap stint, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So probably 3 more laps or so for Oldenmenger and he'll be in. But his last lap was a 29 dead, and Vosnitzer was 29.5. So those the overlap is starting to come through now with the hards and the softs.
Train between Leonov, Fletcher and Sux been going for the entire last stint as well, basically. Nothing really changed between the 3. There's 21 laps to go in this race. Pit window will open in about 3 laps, I would say, but most of these drivers I think are going a bit longer, doing a shorter stint on the harder tires at the end, especially Rovers, Oldenmenger. Bosnica might be going a bit earlier onto the soft tires to try and get as much pace as possible out of those in the final stint. We'll have to wait and see what he actually does. Pekka Lalo and Tom Lombert's pretty close to each other too. Lalo might be thinking about doing something into turn 1. Is a bit too far back. Closing up in the braking though. Lalo is on relatively fresh soft tires compared to Lombard's. So should be able to have a bit more grip. You can see through the corners there. And the exit, bit of wheel spin though.
He's keeping it there in that sort of 3 3/4 tenths of a second behind Lombard. So as Lombard goes a little bit deep into the hairpin, and Lalu almost follows him in sympathy through Schumacher. Lombard's didn't really hit the apex of that left-hander, and that's allowed Lalu to get a little bit closer. Yeah, Lombard's is just missing apexes left, right and centre at the minute. Oh, there we go, there's one. But still, he's a better driver than I am, so Lalu can probably close up on the brakes into the chicane and then hammer him into, well, not actually hammer him, but have him into turn 1 here on the brakes. Oh, Lombard goes a bit too deep.
Yeah,
gives space, good space from Lalu, and then maybe a switch back into out of the final corner. Ooh, didn't quite have it, but still slipstream. And Lalu should have this nice and sewn up into turn 1. And there it is. Nice and clean.
Yeah, Lombard's dropping it a little bit into the ditch there. But managed to keep the car under control. And, well, tried to defend, but still lost the position to Lalu there.
And there's Ivan Leonov again. That car should be red and black rather than ghost white, but he's sitting there behind Sergio Fletcher. again, that sort of 3.5 tenth gap between them. So maybe Leonov will be able to have a crack into turn 1 here. Might need to put your sunglasses on for this onboard. But it's weird because I'm seeing it on mine, but on here it's not showing up properly. Oh, there we go. That's a late lunch. There we go. Up into 6th place for Leonov.
Kept behind Fletcher for quite a long while, but now is up in 6th. And let's see, his strategy so far did 15 laps on the hard tires, so he won't have to take those again. So I'm guessing he's going to be stopping in the next couple of laps. Did 14 laps so far on these softs. Probably doing another 3 maybe, and then taking a full tank to the end of the race.
Should be expecting Oldermenger in around now as well. He's got 10.5 seconds to Vosnitzer in behind him. But in turn, Roivers has that 4-ish second lead over Oldermenger, as Fletcher almost gets a bit too wide coming out of Varstona. Here's Vosnitzer not pitting. Maybe he's going... Well, yeah, I'm thinking of the wrong guy. I was thinking of Oldermenger, sorry. So Vosnitzer going around again, but he's got Lawrence Doherty in just about 2 seconds in behind him on those faster soft tyres. So maybe if Vosnitzer can pull something out in the final stint, because he'll be on the red soft tyres, Oldermenger on the hard tyres. So it could be a close finish between the two of them.
Yeah, indeed, it could be. It's all going to depend on what the pace is like for Wozniak on the softs and what the pace is like for Oldermenger on the hards. I think between Rovers and Oldermenger there's not going to be much difference. They've been pretty much evenly matched throughout this entire race. Of course, Rovers a bit quicker throughout that first stint, managed to get that gap. And now he just needs to keep the consistency up and get to the end of this race.
Well, Jacob Rees just pitted at the end of lap 30. So he's done that 12-lap middle stint, so he'll have a full tank to the end. And a fresh set of soft tyres, so that's him done with his visits to the pit stops. Arif Roslan also bringing his car in. So you would think Oldermenger would be in this lap if he has indeed short fuel. What's Roslan taking? Roslan is on the softs, so should be his last visit to the pit lane. 2-stop race, just what we were anticipating. I think pretty much every race we've had this season so far in Pro has been a 2-stopper. So, and here's Leonov and Fletcher. What's Fletcher going to take?
Softs.
Yep, that's on the softs.
Leonov, same thing, I think.
Yeah, Leonov also on softs. So it's going to be a good battle for those two to the end of the race. Rietveld also in. Rietveld on the softs to the end too. Rasmus Andreasen has quietly made his way up to 9th after all of that. So decent outing for the Dane.
Yeah, you could pick a Lalu right behind these guys too. Lalu has also done his second stop already. He's on soft tires, so he'll be trying to challenge Leonov and Waak as well.
How much older are Lalu's tyres?
7 laps.
Okay. He'll need to pit again, won't he? So
interesting why he went for a 3-stop then, but well, wait and see, because we saw in the last World Championship race actually that Michi Hoyer, or sorry, Jurne Simocic did an extra stop compared to everybody else, and still did a pretty good strategy. And he said in the interview afterwards as well that the 4-stop, I think it was 4-stop, was the quicker strategy, or the 3-stop was the quicker strategy, and perhaps this is the case for Jukapeka Lalu. However, I think that is... Oh, somebody's having a bit of trouble in the pit lane. Sux and
dear.
Doherty carrying their box. I don't know where Sux is going now.
Yeah, it's... there's a box somewhere there, isn't there? Oh.
Yeah,
there it is. That's not going to help. But yeah, Oldenmenger has done his stop. He's now onto the hards. He's in 4th. Roivers with a 14-second lead out in front now as the result of that. Vosnitzer up into 2nd. Kalaxai now in 3rd. But we're seeing the battle between Vosnitzer and Oldenmenger shape up when Jan comes in for his final stop, which should be in the next 4 or 5 laps or so. No, sorry, 3 laps or so.
Yeah.
Can't count.
Cameron Roger right behind Matthew Tewson, getting around the outside now.
No need for a dive bomb.
Yeah, easily past Tewson there. I think Tewson is on all the rubber as well.
Roivers in.
Yeah, leader of the race. Jan Wasnika interestingly stays out on the harder tire. He'll be doing a very short stop stint then, trying to push as much on those tires as possible, I assume. Now Rovers coming out in front of Tom Oldenmenger by about 4 seconds once again. So Oldenmenger didn't really gain much in that undercut. Of course, was only 1 lap, so you would expect that to not be too much. Ivan Leonov is now going to challenge Lawrence Doherty, who had the troubles in his pit stop there.
Should be easy enough for Leonov.
Around the outside. Oh, Doherty goes a bit deep. Bit of contact. Leonov still has the inside here. Doherty shuts the door though. Leonov. Ooh, that's a bit naughty from Doherty, but Leonov able to avoid a big crash. Lalo right behind him as well now.
Lombards and Tewson making their final stops by the looks of things.
Indeed. 15 laps to go to the end.
So Tewson departs the pit lane. He's the last of the drivers on the lead lap. Maybe not. No, because Ampatsidis is actually the last one on the lead lap. Vosnica into the pit lane to take his softs to the end. So Oldenmenger should take him back. Yeah, he will. As minutes down to Vosnica to chase down and take 2nd place back from Oldenmenger. So that gap about 8 seconds as they leave the pit lane. So yeah, Vosnica actually caught a bit of time doing that strategy.
Yeah, a little bit though. It's about up to 10, almost 11 seconds now again. So going to be difficult. Leonov tries again around the outside of Doherty, but Doherty once again defending hard. Right behind that, Lalu and Fletcher are also going at it.
Yeah, it didn't help that Vosnitzer actually went a bit too deep into turn 1 as we now look at Leonov snaking behind the back of Doherty. Decent exit. Not quite close enough to make a move into 5. Doherty runs a little bit wide through 5, gets it tidied back up for 6. Ivan not close enough for a move into the hairpin, unless he absolutely sends it. Goes a bit deep, cuts back for the exit. There's a couple of lines you can take through that corner. Then Lalu and Fletcher in behind them with their little battle, and the 2 battles end up meeting in the middle at some point on this lap. It's just going to be a case of what Leonov can do on this straight. I don't think he's close enough because you need to be in that sort of 0.3 of a second gap range to really take advantage of the slipstream around here. But if he's decent enough on the brakes and gets a better exit of the chicane and then again through the final corner, Leonov could actually have that position gained for good as they come through to start lap 37. Sorry, lap 30. He'll be there lap 36. Yeah, I know what I mean.
Yeah. So,
big send. That was a great send. As in behind them, you've got Fletcher and Lalu going wheel to wheel.
Yeah, Doherty, of course, Was expecting Leonov to go around the outside once again, I guess. But Leonov thought differently. Just sent it up the inside there. Doherty leaving the door wide open. And yeah, great move there by Ivan Leonov.
Lalu and Fletcher there battling away. Now here's Vosnitzer. 9 seconds behind Oldermenger. Probably check in with their lap times as they have their fight to the end. Royver's also on the hard tyres to the end as well, so hopefully Vosnitzer can put some pressure on Oldermenger and maybe pressure a couple of mistakes in the final 12 laps of this race. Cam Rogers just also made his pit stop. He's back down in 16th. Lombart's ahead of him, and Andreasen having a little battle as well. They're very close together in 14th and 15th. If Cameron can catch up to the two of them, he might be in the shot of taking a point come the end of the race.
Yeah, fastest lap of the race just set by Jan Bosnica, 1:27.9, which is 1.2 seconds quicker than what Tom Oldermenger did last lap. So at that rate, he's going to be catching up with him just already in a few laps. Let's see if he can keep that pace throughout the entire stint. I would expect, of course, that to drop off a little bit. Tom Lambert's going around the outside of Andreasen out of the final corner. Now it's a drag race down the start-finish straight into turn 1. Andreasen is going to have the inside line. Lomberts tries to brake late, of course, on the soft tires. Around the outside, next corner is going to be the inside for Lombards. And seems like he has the move done there. Needs to watch out for Andreasen not going up the inside here, and indeed does not. So, great move there by Tom Lomberts. Set it up out of the final corner already and made it stick there through turn 2.
Yeah, deliberately went to the outside, so have that inside line for turn 2, and that seems to be a popular move for a few drivers at the Nürburgring today. He's been now cut back to Fletcher on the back end of Doherty. Quarter of a second between the two of them, so Fletcher should have a decent enough slipstream coming through over the start-finish line. But Jukka-Pekka Lalu also wanting to get a piece of this action. Nope, Lalu pitting for his final stop.
Yeah.
So let's see what Sergio Fletcher can do on the run into turn 1. He's got the softer tyres, the faster tyres. Doherty on the slower tyre, and it's basically what we've just seen between Andreasen and Lombards. A little bit more elbows out, and
a bit too much.
A bit too close. Too close, a little close. But Fletcher's just gone, no, I'm having that position anyway. Right, off I go. But those soft tyres aren't going to be too happy with that little pirouette.
Probably not now. Last lap, Jan Bosnica was a second quicker than Tom Oldermenger. I think this is indeed going to be very close for that second position. Gap now 7.2 seconds.
Jackson Vent trying to go around the outside of the chicane, and now he's got the inside line for the final corner. A little bit of contact between him and Stoyan Barbakov, and there's more contact on the pit straight. It's a straight. Go straight. But he should have the inside line for turn 1 here. And then, just trying to see... sorry, that's Ampatsidis he was fighting with. Stoyan Barbakov is looking at that battle in front and thinking he could have a bit of that. And he's had a freebie as Ampatsidis decides to go for a bit of lawn mowing. And I think he's going to be retiring that car as it's just come to a stop. Unless he's waiting for traffic to go. No, he's DNF'd. Gap's starting to spread out at the minute. Gap between Oldermenger and Vosnitzer now down to 6 seconds, so hacking away at that gap. Vosnitzer's last lap was a 28.7, while Oldermenger's was a 29.7, so there's about a second a lap between the two of them here. Vosnitzer doing the shorter fill, fresher tyres, faster tyres. It's going to be a grandstand finish at the rate things are going. Lawrence Doherty here, going through the hairpin. He's got 1.5 to Calaxide behind, so he's pretty safe for now. But Calaxide chasing him down on those fresher, well, let's say fresher, faster, softer tyres.
Rovers gap between him and Oldermenger is now about 3.5 seconds. Basically the same as it's been throughout the entire last half of the race. There's 9 laps to go, including this one. I think if Rovers keeps doing what he's doing, he'll be good for the win here today. Of course, knock on wood, but that will be increasing his championship lead to Zsolt Soeks quite a bit, because Soeks had a tough race today. Currently down in 11th place, battling with Jukka-Pekka Lalu. So he won't be getting too many points. And Rovers will be getting at least 25. If he loses a position, it's going to be 20, but still a very big bag of points for Rovers. And he'll be quite happy with that, I assume.
Yeah, the gap between Oldermenger and Vosnitzer has dropped by another second. So just 5 seconds between the two of them now. Vosnitzer's taken probably about another half a second out just on the last sector alone. So that gap is coming down. There is lap traffic in between Oldermenger and Vosnitzer. I think it might be Roslan. It is Roslan. So Vosnitzer will see that yellow car. There it is in the distance as they come out the final corner to start lap number 41. Gap now 4.5 seconds as it's showing on the live timing on your screens on the live stream. Oh, a little bit of a moment into turn 1, bit of under rotation on that right front. I think that might just be the way that the way the tarmac drops away into that corner, rather than the fact that he locked the car up, or locked the brakes up. It's a bit hard to see from this camera angle, but still you can see him working the wheel to try and extract as much pace out of those Red Bull soft tyres as he possibly can, and try and take the fight to Oldermenger in the last 7 laps of this race.
Yeah, lapped car there. Invictus of RF Roslan starting to come up to Vosnica as well. Yeah, last few laps, Vosnica has consistently been about a second lap quicker. Last lap it was only 6/10. Oldermenger able to get a bit more pace compared to the last 3 laps before that. But Roslan getting out of the way there nicely for Vosnica. And now it is about 4 seconds to Oldermenger still.
Yeah, Roslan moving over on probably the second fastest section of the track, so that Vosnitzer didn't lose any time. And yeah, that gap now 3.5 between Oldermenger and Vosnitzer, but those soft tyres will be dropping off soon. So it is very tense. Meanwhile, Roger is just 6 seconds behind teammate Andreasen for that final points paying position. Andreasen on the hards, Roger on the softs. I don't think Cameron will make it. His last lap a 29.7. Rasmus last lap a 37. So okay, he is doing a second a lap, but is it going to be enough come the end of the race? Oh, hello.
I think he made a bit of a mistake last lap. Let's have a quick peek. He went, according to the TD overlay, he went off track for a second. So let's have a look if he actually did, or if it's just a bit of a. This was half a lap ago.
Yeah, so this is the chicane.
Oh, he missed it.
Oh yeah, straight lined it. It's not going to do him any good.
Definitely won't. Probably didn't lose too much time because of it.
But Vosnitzer will see. You can just see him there in the background. Getting ever so slightly closer. Just 5 to go now. But if Oldermenger keeps making those mistakes, then Vosnitzer will be on him a a lot sooner than things would necessarily happen. Pressuring a driver into a mistake is always a good feeling. Know that you've got the mental high ground, as it were. Did a Bathurst 12 hour a couple of months ago, chased down 3rd place for the final podium spot, managed to have him make a mistake into the final corner, and came through the final corner myself and saw him facing the wrong way. So it's always a good feeling when that happens, but it's always preferred to do it on track rather than making them spin or go off or hit a wall or anything like that. So Vosnitz still hammering in those decent lap times, but will those soft tyres hang on for him to be able to do that?
Good question indeed. Last lap he didn't really gain too much.
Well, I mean, Oldham a straight line in the chicane probably would have cancelled that out, so...
Yeah, true. Kaloksai also getting closer to Doherty, sorry. Doherty is on hard tyres. Kaloksai is on the soft tyres. Relatively fresh ones, well, relative is a big word, but 9-lap-old soft tyres. So if you can get within a few tenths, 2-3 tenths, you might be able to make a move on Lawrence Doherty. Vosnica lost a little bit of time. Well, didn't really lose a little bit of time. Didn't gain as much as last time. Only a tenth this lap.
Might just be close enough for a move. I mean, he'd have to send it, but he's pulled out of the slipstream. A little bit of a lock-up there for Doherty. Hasn't affected him too much, but Kaloksai still sniffing for that 6th position.
Thomas Wach battling with Jacob Reed here. Wach just losing the position. Wach really not having the best race of the season so far. I say that, however, he did have 2 DNFs so far, so
yeah,
I guess it's not the worst. Kaloksai, close, but not close enough. Vosnitsa, I think
2.5.
Yeah, I think his tires are starting to drop off a little bit. 4 tenths this last lap. So, Kaloksai goes around the outside of the chicane. That's going to be a brave move. Bit of contact made. Kaloksai has to cut the chicane there to avoid contact with Doherty.
Lifted out of it to avoid taking the position illegally. But that's is not quite close enough in the slipstream. Doesn't even bother following Doherty there. Just keeps it on the racing line. But still, he'll probably have another chance come the end of the lap, either into the chicane again or into turn 1 at the start of the next lap.
Just under 3 laps, or just over 3 laps to go, and Jan Vosnica, he's got his eyes on Oldham now. There's a lap car in between as well, who's nicely getting out of the way. I think that's Tom Bertz or Jackson Vent, either of.
Well, the Aldermenger's last lap was a 29.5, and Vosnitz's was a 29.2. So, Aldermenger did a 29.9 there.
Yeah.
While Vosnitz did a 29.3. So yeah, those soft tyres past the sell-by date now.
Yeah, with 3 laps to go, he really needs to get a move on if he wants to get past.
I think Aldermenger might just have this,
Ooh, something happened between Batalla and Jackson Vent. Yeah, Batalla even out of the race.
Yeah, Batalla's missing his rear wing, so he's gone into a wall backwards at some point.
Oh, and my game has decided to give up.
Oh dear. Okay. Right, radio broadcast it is then. What's going on? Right, Lawrence Doherty is being chased by Calaxai, so it looks like Calaxai didn't get that run into turn 1 that he would have liked. In behind them is Cash Rietveld, just taking things steady, but Oldenmenger... I mean, the gap does look like it is getting closer between Vosnitzer and Oldenmenger, but the lap times are saying that probably isn't the case, as they are coming up to more lap traffic. Oh, that wasn't lap traffic that was in the distance. That was Noah Roivers in the distance that I thought was lap traffic. So the gap between Roivers and Oldenmenger now at 2.8 seconds, 2.6 seconds as they cross the line, according to the in-game timing. Vosnitzer just 2 seconds now behind Oldenmenger. So it is getting closer, but between the 3 podium finishers, as it stands anyway, Ivan Leonov is probably another 13 seconds behind Vosnitzer. Sergio Fletcher, 26 seconds behind them in total. So, I mean, the podium is pretty much sorted, but anybody's race if one of them makes a mistake. So, Roivers, Oldenmenger, Vosnitzer, Leonov, Fletcher, Doherty, Calaxai, Rietveld, Dennehan, Schucks, Lalu, Reed, Vak, Lombards, Andreasen, Roger, Tucson, Barbakov, Vent, Roslan and Riboli are the current runners in the race. Looking at Roger, he is just 2.5 seconds behind Andreasen for that final podium position. Cam's last lap of 29.9, while Rasmus did a 37, so Roger's still taking little chunks out of that lead, and we finally get our picture back as we see Oldenmenger being chased by Vosnitzer for second.
Yeah, a little bit of troubles there, but fixed just in time to watch the final 1.5 laps. 1.5 seconds between Vosnitzer and Oldenmenger. It's just a little bit too far for Vosnitzer to do anything. But of course, if there's a mistake from Tom Lomberts, then Vosnitzer is right there to capitalize on it.
Vosnitzer trying to maximise that run out of 4. Car had a little bit of a wiggle, but he can see Oldenmenger in front of him. He can also see Roivers in front of him as well. That's how close it's got in the last couple of laps, unless Roivers is just taking it nice and easy for the final lap. Just drive and don't do anything stupid. Don't over push the car, overdrive the car. As a Royal Blue car just getting out of the way for him. It looks like Stoyan Barbakov there.
Yep.
Through the Schumacher S to the final time. And then into the S-bends that make up whatever corner that is in Warsteiner. And then down the back stretch for the final time. Just relax. Don't need to look in your mirrors or anything like that. Just get the chicane nice and hooked up. The gap there is big enough. Through the left, through the right. And then into the final corner for the final time. Noah Roivers will take the win here at the Nürburgring. Oldenmenger just hangs on for second. A second between him and Vosnitzer. So that's your podium. And then Ivan Leonov takes fourth for the other Netrex car. And then a bit of a gap to Sergio Fletcher as well. As we see Calaxai and Doherty going at it for the final lap. Oh, that's a bit of shutting the doorage there. Can Calaxai have it round the outside? Just gets squeezed slightly by Doherty, but that's going to bring in Cash Rietveld, so it's all to play for into the final corner. Cash Rietveld getting a better exit out of the chicane, a little bit of contact. Rietveld sends it up the inside of the final corner. Rietveld is going to take 7th position pretty much on the line.
Yeah. Calaxai, he's going to be quite, unhappy about that. But Rietveld, of course, taking the advantage there of the little battle between Doherty and Calaxai. Oh, sorry, Doherty and Rietveld. Oh, sorry, no. Doherty and Calaxai, and Rietveld just taking that position away from Calaxai. Great stuff there, Tom Lomberts. Finishing in 12th, Jacob Reed 13th, Thomas Wack 14th, Andreasen in 15th, and Cameron Roger taking home the final point of the Pro Championship today. And with that taking another point for the championship, he'll be happy about that. But of course, man of the day, Noah Rovers. What a great drive he's done.
Yeah, that'll open up his championship lead. So he'll be looking forward to the next race to try and get another win on the board. So 2 wins from 3 for Rovers. Doing very, very well, and you'd probably start putting money on him to win the championship overall at this point.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Definitely, of course, it's quite early in the season still. 12 races total, and this is only the third one. Still quite a bit to go, but of course, indeed, very good start of the season for him. And let's have a look at how the championship would look. If we actually get them, that's another question. Maybe? Yeah.
Technology, eh?
There we go.
Right.
So provisionally, he would be leading by 70 points, over 48 points for Zsolt Suks, who indeed didn't have the best race of the season. Bosnica in third, and then Leonov, Olden Menger, pretty close to each other, Kaz Rietveld, and then a bit of a gap to Ayers and Ivanov and Kalaksai and Doherty behind that. So I think Noah Rovers will be very pleased with this result. But of course, there's still a lot of races to go. As we can see here, we've got next the Dutch Grand Prix next week already. Coming up, and of course later today we've still got the World Championship, which will be coming on at 19:45 GMT. I shouldn't say GMT, it's actually BST right now, I guess.
Yeah, the clocks have gone forward and it's still confusing.
Yeah, but basically it's going to be live in about 40 minutes. So make sure you tune in for that as well, live on our YouTube channel. Lewis McGlade and Ewan O'Leary will be taking you through the commentary back then. I want to thank you, Aidan, of course, once again for joining me here in the commentary booth. I thank all the viewers for watching. Thank all the drivers for giving us a great show once again. And I think that's it for today, Aidan.
Yeah, that was quite interesting. Yeah, Dutch Grand Prix last year served up quite a decent race, so hopefully we'll get another one again. Again, tight turn one, tight infield section. Should be a good one, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Let's hope for that. Indeed. Until the Dutch Grand Prix next week, and hopefully until as well the World Champion race in just a little bit. Everybody, please take care. Bye-bye.